Hi, I'm Louise, the designer and head tinkerer at Made by Elle, and I am very excited to do this, my first video, and my first video with the Marathon Sewciety. I really wanted to do this one because I'm a huge SewGnar fangirl, and so I desperately wanted to be part of the Juno Clutch Wallet Sew-Along. And when I say fangirl, I really do mean that. The first class that I had an opportunity to take with Nicole, I had a mutual friend text her ahead of time to let her know that I wasn't the stalker kind of crazy, not the call the police kind of crazy, and that a restraining order would most likely not be needed, but I was going to fangirl all over her. And so I really love her patterns. They truly work for my neurodivergent brain. And this one came together extremely well, like all of hers do. This is so pretty. This is what we'll be sewing today. And I've got this really pretty shiny rainbow cord. Don't know where I got it from. I got it from a D-stash. This was my first time making a gusseted zipper pocket on a wallet. So that was, I was really nervous about it, but she made it. She makes it so easy in the pattern. She breaks it down really well. This beautiful wallet has got all of these card slots. I think it's 16 card slots, and then the 2 cash pockets here. And it is a nice solid wallet without being bulky, without being like super thick and bulky. So I'm really happy with how this came together. Like I said, her patterns are so well written. They truly do work for me. Hopefully you will enjoy sewing this with me and all my friends today. So let's get started. All right, so let's go over our pieces. We have got the main panel exterior. Isn't it pretty? Main panel lining. I've already got my interfacing attached as per the pattern instructions. These are the zipper pocket pieces, also interfaced per the pattern instructions. This is the card panel back. This is card panel A, card panel B, and my card slots. This is the zipper gusset piece. My zipper already cut and prepped. And I'm going to make the wristlet strap, so this is my wrist strap piece. Okay, we're going to start by building our card panel, and we are going to take card panel A, and this is one where I'm going to, I've got tape on mine. If your machine cannot handle tape, then I would suggest either moving it down and up so it's out of your seam allowance, or gluing is always an option. If you're confident in your clips, go for it. I am sewing on my fantastical Thor 1541 named Molly, so I am going to tape this sucker right on down. We're going to line it up along the top, straight across here. Me and straight are not the best of friends ever. We're going to see if I can pull this off. Literally, I guess. And then we are going to top stitch along the top. I'm going to do one side at a time because that's how my brain says it should be done. If you're bold and daring, you can do both at one time, but I'm pretty sure my head would explode. So we're just going to do one at a time. And then we are going to sew it with the seam allowance stated in the pattern. Right. And you would do the exact same thing for the other side to put this panel in over here. Okay, so now for the first of our card slots. I've already applied tape to all of my pieces, to the backs of all of my pieces, because I knew I was going to use tape. But again, you can use glue, tape, tape outside the seam allowance, but you don't want to go on the card slots. You don't want to go above the really skinny tape that's right along the bottom of your piece, because then you will get to where your cards, when you slide them in, they're going to stick to the tape. If your machine cannot handle tape, I very highly recommend the Beacon Fabri-Tac. Yeah, Beacon Fabri-Tac. You can glue it down and let it dry. It dries really quickly, and then you will be good to go with sewing over it with no issue. This piece is going to go right on top of this one of our card slot A, card slot piece A, and then we want to try and line up our sides here with the edges and this with the bottom to line up perfectly with this piece. I used my Cricut to cut this out, and by me I mean Superman used the Cricut to cut this out. And so in theory this should be like a pretty solidly exact fit, but then that doesn't really allow for the me factor. And I have a skill set with complicating what should be relatively easy things. It's my superpower. Nobody else can have it because it's mine. Okay, that looks pretty good. Pretty good. Pretty good. Okay. And now, after I finish eating my hair, we're going to go ahead and sew along the bottom of this piece with the stated seam allowance. And we are going to repeat this exact same step for the other two card slots that make up this side. Ignore my crazy little lines. They mean something in the world of me. Your pattern will tell you where to place yours so they don't look crazy like these. It's okay. It's all good. Everything's fine. So we had to take a momentary break there. We had some technical difficulties known as Nixie jumping up here and catching the camera cord and taking it for a ride. So we're going to pick back up with putting card slot 2 down. I've already pulled my tape off before Nixie decided to take the camera for a ride. We're now going to sew around the tiny baby of the house. So line your next card slot up where it's indicated on your pattern. Almost for where it's indicated on mine, and we'll see if I get anywhere near it. Oh, I did not get anywhere near it. I did mention the straight is not really my jam, right? Straight's really not my jam. Like straight with a ruler even is not really my jam. Okay, that looks somewhat decent. All right, we're going with it. We're rolling with it. And let's see what else she can take with her while she's up here. Hi. Hello, could you? Thank you. Okay. We're going to attempt to set this again. Hopefully this is not too dark for you to be able to see. Kind of a weird time of day for lighting in here. I've got enough lamps in here to make it kind of like the face of the sun, but I'm not sure if they're working for or against the video. And once more with feeling. Let's try this. I'm using the Wallet Hyperstick tape because it's my personal favorite, but it also means that I'm kind of sticking to everything as I go. Because I like to make sure that it's as challenging as possible when I do things. How do I feel about that? I feel like that's maybe not quite right. Oh! No, get back up there. Okay. No, tiny one. Do not come over here. Okay, come on over here. Sure. Just trying to play, baby. Meh. Sure. We're going with it. What the heck? This does not look the same as distance there. One moment. I have to check my measurements. Okay. So check the measurements. We are right now, and we're going to go ahead and sew this one down with the seam allowance stated in the pattern, like we did the other ones. Again, I'm back stitching at the beginning and end. All right, so trim and trim and trim. And this is what our card panel looks like at this point. I'm going to go ahead and do the other side off camera so that we can keep going. Okay, so now I have got both of the cards done. They are only attached at the bottom, so that's where we should be in this. We take our card panel B, and we are going to line it up centered on these pieces here. So you want to make center marks. I make my center marks as opposed to drawing with any kind of pen that may or may not come off. I am pretty basic, and I take a piece of chalkboard chalk and I just fold it in half and do that. I do that. I do this on my zippers too to find my centers. We want to mark it on the sides because we need to match up to make sure that we are setting it in the middle on this piece here. Our little lines here. And then we need to do it side to side as well because we're going to be stitching down that. So mark the midpoints. Like I said, this is really basic, but it works pretty well because then I don't have any issue with taking it off. And then line it up on your piece. Line your center marks up with your edges. And it looks like I have got, looking pretty good, I think. Ooh, how'd that happen? I don't know quite how that happened. I am sus. That's very sus. That's not how things work with me. Can I get a hold of it? No, that's gonna just really. Okay. Honestly, I do use these things. I swear I do. Okay, there's that. Let's look at this side. No, it's a no mark. Right there, but I look a little bit off. So we're gonna scooch it this way. So this is my center mark, and it could be the way that I folded it is like literally a smidge, the smidgiest of smidges off. So I'm just gonna slide it to where they look more even. Now what we do want to do is these midpoints here. We do want to mark down the center because we're going to be sewing down the center of the card slots here. Excuse me, ma'am. Excuse me. All right, I have got my center line marked. We are going to sew from the top card slot, not up here, just the top card slot, down all the way to the other, flip it around, top card slot or bottom card slot here. Back stitching at each one just because they're going to be stress points. So I recommend, I've got my stitch length right now at a 4, which is pretty much as small as I ever take anything that I'm sewing. but I think I'm going to knock it down to like a 3.5 so that I can make sure that I have the opportunity to backstitch in between here. Only one stitch, whatever, but just enough to make sure that there's some reinforcement there for the cards. Yes, it is time to replace my tape. That is my measuring marks. I do see that. You are accurate in that assessment. I lost bobbin chicken. Be right back after I wind the bobbin. All right, let's try this again with bobbin thread. Those little things, you know. All right, so trim it up. And let's see how it looks. I think it looks pretty good. All right. All right, so to make lining this up and making sure that everything is straight along the sides easier, and also so that these aren't just flopping in the wind, we're going to want to either glue these down, or I'm going to use double-sided tape. And you're going to want to tape from here. Again, I'm going to keep it right at the edge because I'm using 1/8 inch tape, and go along your side here, right at the edge, up and up and up and up, moving everything out of the way as you go. And tape it down. After you do this, kind of counterintuitive if you're using tape especially, you're going to want to lay the card pieces down flat, slide them over and lay them down flat, and then it will make it easier to ensure that all your pieces are actually flush. And like I've got this gap right here, but I don't actually have the gap when I lay the tape down and I pull that over. So once I lay the tape down, I'll be able to straighten up all my pieces. Okay, so laid the tape down and have trimmed up the edges. So we are done with this piece for now. I'm going to set it aside and move on to our zipper pocket. Okay, so I had said that we were going to move on to the zipper pocket, but I completely forgot about prepping the main lining panel. Yes, main lining panel for your magnetic snaps. So I'm going to be using rivet magnetic snaps, but regardless of what kind you're using, you're going to need to make sure that your marks are here. And this is also where, if you have not already put your stabilizer on, you're going to want to make sure that you put your stabilizer on at this point. So mine is already on here. Which one did I just punch? That one. Mine's already on here. My Cricut cut holes for me, but then of course we put the stabilizer on, and so those holes are now just nothing but a mere memory. So I'm going to repunch them with the hand punch here, which is something I can only pull off because I'm only punching through half of it because I'm a wimp. So now my lining panel is technically complete, and I'm not putting my magnetic snaps in yet because, like I said, I'm using the rivet type. If you were doing the prong type magnets, you would go ahead and put them on now, but I'm not. I'm using the rivet ones, or if you're using spring snaps. So now we'll move on to the zipper pocket. Okay, so I realized that I prepped my zipper in advance, so I can't really show you how to do it. But what you are doing here is you're putting your zipper pull on, and then you are coming to the end and opening it up, and you are folding down and making a 90-degree flip with your zipper. You're pinching it like this. There's a mark in the pattern that she tells you to make, that Nico tells you to make in the pattern. Pinch that and you fold up like this. I've never been a pincher, never going to be a pincher. I'm just like fold it and hope for the best type person until you have it looking like this. Then you can tack it in whatever method you like. Clearly this one was attacked by fire, and that's how we're going to go with it. So got that. This is what it is referred to in, this is the zipper gusset. This is the zipper gusset like opening. So we're going to be putting this in here. This is the bigger piece of the two pieces of the pocket lining, the zipper pocket material that you have. The bigger one is the top, which I marked with a T because I will not remember that 5 minutes from now. And this is the bottom, the one with the unusual way of, with the interfacing. I intentionally went with a non-directional fabric for everything here because if there is a way to turn the fabric in the wrong direction, I will also do that. Along with my inability to cut a straight line with a ruler, I will flip fabric the wrong way. So what we are going to do, I've already prepped my cork. If you're using cork, seal it in whatever method you want, be it with some Mod Podge or heating it. I am not responsible for any injury you may sustain from heating elements, but you will want to heat it and then, or seal it in whatever way, and then we were going to tape around here. Put some tape around the box, or you can glue around the box, but I recommend tape because, well, I recommend tape. And I must now find my tape. I did not prep this part in advance, so sorry. So she goes all the way around and she makes crazy figures and stuff with her tape, and my soul says that's not how tape works. So we're going to go ahead and cut it and pick it back up. And I'm sure that the next time I see her, she will laugh at me for that, but that's okay. That's okay. She's laughed at me for much, 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 much goofier stuff than that. And now we will go this way. Mika recommends going out about 1/2 inch past your box when with your tape. And she promises that there's a method to the madness. I believe her. She's not steered me wrong yet. Okay, and let's go back into its package. So what we're going to do is, hey, look, pieces come out. Our little holes punched. What we're in theory going to do is, with our zipper to the left, our zipper pull to the left, we are going to pull the, I'm using a number 5 zipper, by the way, zipper by the yard, and the pattern technically says use number 3, but I didn't have any number 3 that was pretty, and I want pretty. You're going to line your zipper up. You're going to take the back of your tape off, or you're going to lay your glue, and you're going to line your zipper up in here to where it's, let's see if I can make this not quite as crooked looking for you. Okay. You're going to lay your zipper where it's straight inside of here, just like any other zipper box you're going to do. You see right here we've got a little bit of a gap, and that's okay. She says to line this part of the zipper up about 1/8 of an inch, a scant 1/8 of an inch away from this cut here, because we don't want too big of a hole here or things can slip out. So I am going to peel my tape and see if I can actually lay this down anything that resembles straight. Here goes nothing. Upside to have done it in pieces is that I can't actually move it around and get it straight without having to undo the whole thing. That looks pretty good on the bottom here. I think. It's probably not straight, and I'm like off kilter, but hey, we're rolling with it. And then I'm going to peel the side and the top, in theory. I will persevere. And lay this down and see how we're looking. We're looking pretty jazzy. All right, that looks pretty good. Okay. Okay, so now we're going to take our bottom lining, zipper lining panel, zipper pocket panel. We're going to turn our main exterior over, and we're going to turn it to where this is the bottom, this is the top, so we're turning it upside down. And we are going to take a piece of tape here. So this is going to be folded in because it's going to lay, and eventually it's going to line up against this here, our gusset cut here, zipper gusset cut. And so we're going to lay it like this over our zipper. So I am going to take we want this folded in to protect that edge. We want it folded in 1/4 of an inch. So we're going to lay this, I've got a piece of 1/4 inch tape here. We're not going to fold our stabilizer, our interfacing in at all. We're literally using our interfacing as the guide for where we fold this. We take the tape off and just fold that down just exactly like that. And we need another piece of tape for in our pocket. I'm kind of a freak about my tape. I hate it when it gets things on it, so I'm over here panicking a bit because I always keep it in its plastic, and it's all of its plastic and running in the wild. So we're going to lay our tape right along the bottom of our zipper, and you of course can very much so do this with glue as well. You don't have to use tape, especially not if it's any problem for your machine to sew over. But take and again, I'm using a number 5 zipper. Number 3 is what's recommended for this pattern, so mine's going to be a little bit bulkier here when I'm sewing over this because the teeth are bigger. So we're going to line this piece up here, the edge without the interfacing on it. I'm going to line it up with the edge of our zipper. We want to line it up just barely inside of this piece of our cut. So we want it literally sitting like, oh hey, look. This is not where we're placing it, but so that you can visualize without it getting stuck. We want to put it like just the tiniest little bit to the inside of the cut in here. So I'm going to place it like right on top of my zipper because I put that pretty darn close to the point there. And then just press it down. Press it all down. Is that the right way? Mm-hmm. Ah, that's right. Yes, it is. Had to do it. I'm sorry. Had to think for a moment. And we flip it over. And we're going to sew, starting over on this side, we're going to sew right along here. Only the bottom. Don't do any other places, just along the bottom. And I need to increase my stitch length again. Go back up. All right. Have that laid in the right place. I'm not going to back stitch here. I'm going to pull my threads to the back, through to the back, because it's just going to be a cleaner finish. I wound up bobbing, so my speed is up to 4,200, and we're just going to dial that back right down before I go vroom. and scare myself and say words I should not say when I scare myself. Move my zipper pull out of the way when I get to this point. All right, I can get it. There we go. All right, pull it long. Tails for days. And then we're going to flip it over. We are going to, thank you, lovely assistant, pull our tails through. Loops through. Right. Allegedly, 3 ties is the magical number, so that is what I do. It's what I was told was the magical number, therefore I do 3s. I was supposed to leave those long. She recommends leaving the tails long and taping them down back here. Whoops, I did not do that. So we're going to hope that this never comes apart and stays together forever, and that's what I'm going with on this. All right, this is going to fall down like this when we're all said and done. Okay, so since we were supposed to pull our tails long and leave them long, and I did not, and then tape them here so that they stay in place, and then use that piece of tape to fold this and hold this down. I'm just going to take a piece of tape that has no strings underneath it and lay it here. Don't want a whole lot of tape because we don't want to, we don't want to actually not be able to sew around the zipper pocket when we get it all done. We just want enough to hold this down and out of our way for the next step. And the next step is to take our zipper gusset, and on the short, make sure you can see, the short side on the back, on the wrong side and the short side, put a piece of tape here. And then we are going to lay it lined up with our actual cut here, lining the top up with the top there along the side of that. So we are laying it like this and smooching it down so that they are even with each other. And then we're going to flip it to the front and sew from the bottom up to here. Again, we're going to pull our threads to the back. So we've sewn this right there. Pull them through and tie them off. I'm really glad that you all cannot see what I am doing because I make the best faces while I'm sewing. And by the best faces, I mean one of those ones that your mom would say, quit making that face. If it freezes like that, you're going to scare small children. Yeah, those faces. All right. I should probably check and see if we're supposed to cut those before I do so. I'm taking a momentary break here so that you can see exactly what happens whenever I'm trying to sew. The childlet known as Nixie, she of the milk mustache and milk mutton chops, likes to come in here and lay on my table and tell me that I am not paying attention to her and that she has gone hours and hours and hours without attention and affection, and her life is really not going okay. So we have to stop all forward momentum and snuggle the baby, literally in my arms as she is climbing into my arms to be held like the baby she is. Yeah, this is how this works. So I'll be right back. Now we're going to fold this piece over, and we're going to fold it over as it's explained in the pattern. If you're using glue, you're going to want to look at that and make sure that you know how far so that you can measure over from the cut line here over to exactly where you need to place your tape. I mean, place your glue so that you can make sure that everything lays right for you. We are going to, you're going to set this. Okay. So, looking at that then. All right. And this here, I've never made this type of pocket before, this type of zipper pocket, so this was kind of nifty and neat. But this is building our, the actual, ooh, hey, get back down there, the actual gusset for our pocket. You're still straight. Push you up. Well, heck, Tallulah, what'd I do? Let's see. Okay. You're still good. But I need you straight with this. And then with this. This needs to be straight along the bottom here. And like that. Okay. Then we place some more tape along here, along the top of our pocket, to hold down our piece. This is not the good tape, so I'm less concerned about this tape. This is the non-super sticky tape, because it's what's at hand. And I am going to lay this one like this. As I said, it is not the good tape because the whole thing just came off. Alright, let's try pressing it down super hard and see if it works better. There we go. Alright, and now we lay this along this. And what we do at this point is sew our pocket together first. There we go. I'm going to wish I used the good tape in a minute. Okay. Instead of sewing around everything, we are going to sew our pocket together here and go along here to, we're going to sew our pocket together on this side. Let's try this one more time. Sew the pocket together here along this side. Pivot and sew along the bottom to where we've got this folded up. Back stitch there and stop. And then we will switch to the outside and sewing up and around. And then we're going to leave our tails. We're going to start sewing here across the bottom here, right at, I'm not sure if you can see my tape, my stitches from earlier, but we're going to start right here, picking up, going across, up and over and around, and then down over here. And again, we pull them through and pull our tails through and tie them off. Yes, I can only tie in one direction. I don't know why. But it's the only way they'll stay tied. If I tie them in any other order, then they will immediately come undone. I'm just certain of it. And now, in theory, if I have done it right, we have got a functioning, haha, we do, look at that, woo! We've got a functioning gusseted change pocket. Woohoo! That's pretty spiffy. All right, deal. Okay, so I had the realization that I did not have any rainbow rivet magnets, so I used regular magnets. Put them on. Used some waterproof canvas as some extra buffers for my fabric so that the eventual rub will not like take it apart and stuff. Same thing over here, only we went a little crazy with the tape here, but that's okay. It's all good. It's all good. So this is the main panel, my pattern's gone. The main panel interior here that my card slots are laying on. And there are measurements in the pattern to tell you how you line these up and stuff. If you've done any trimming along the way to your pieces to straighten things out and stuff, you're going to need to account for that in where you place your card slot on here. Try, obviously, hopefully it's gone smoothly for you and everything is laying like it should and you haven't had to do any major tweaking. She's left a little bit of a buffer, Nico's left a little bit of a buffer in the size of the pieces for you to be able to trim if your card slots didn't come out exactly the same size and stuff. So hopefully everything is lined up. You've got your pieces set on here now. I have taped mine down at the sides here just because I'm like that. I need them all to like stay and behave and be in one place and stuff. So now we're going to take our main exterior piece, and I also have, before we started, I put my label on this. We're going to take our main exterior piece and we're going to set it and our lining piece with the card slots, this card slot piece panel attached to it, and we're going to start lining them all up. We want to lay these and line up all four corners, all four sides, and if we get lucky, they'll actually fit together and be good to go. I know that I'm going to need to trim this down a little bit because you can see here my piece is off a smidge, like I don't know, maybe a 1/16 of an inch. So I know I'm going to have to trim mine down, and that's okay. I'm just going to line it up here, and I'll make the trimming. I'll go around and trim it off camera, but I'm going to see how far off I am before I worry about that. I've got a lot of clips going on here right now, so that's going to take up some space. And I'm going to work around that and ease it all in. So once we get this all together, I'm looking to see how my fit is. Once I figure out my fit, if I'm good to go on sizing and stuff, then I am going to put tape on the back side of my piece here so that the pieces can be taped together and held together that way as well. So for the most part, I am pretty much okay, other than I need to trim this little bit here at the edge. So I'm going to go ahead and clip this all around, apply some tape and clip it all around, make my trims, and then I will come back on and we will finish this up. Okay, so we are ready for the final sew around this beast here. Everything is in its place, looking pretty. I am making the wristlet, so I still need to sew on my my strap, but I will probably do that after I finish this. So according to the pattern, there's markings in the pattern that show you where to draw these lines. And what we're doing is we're coming down and around and up for the first one, and then we're coming down and around and up for the second one, so that we've got an overlapping section here, which is where our fold is. So it is going to help us with that area folding when we start sewing, when we sew those rectangles in place. I am just gonna go for it, and I think I'm going to start at the bottom in hopes that any mistakes will be nicely hidden and go for it here. We're top stitching this, so we're sewing this at the seam allowance throughout this has been the same, so we're sewing it at the same seam allowance, but top stitching is always 1/8. Fingers crossed, everyone. I am going to have to back stitch at the start and stop because there's really not any place to pull the threads through on this one, so. Now let's see what we look like. Ooh, sorry about that. Got you right in front of me, and to make sure you have the best seat in the house. I didn't mean to knock you around. All right, what do we look like? I think it's looking pretty good. Some threads I need to. Again, we don't recommend this at home. We definitely don't recommend it if you're under 18 or 21 or whatever your particular state might feel is appropriate. I assume no responsibility because I don't even generally assume responsibility for things I light on fire. I think she looks pretty good. Well, let's see if she folds up. The real test. Do we line up? Dun, dun, dun. Uh-oh. She thick. She thick. She real thick. They do line up, but dang, she's thick. Okay, there we go. Woo! So she has to settle in. But she's so pretty. Look at it. And she's all shiny and pretty. And he's got this pretty pocket with these also rainbowy sunflowers. She's such a happy little wallet. Look at her. Oh, this makes me so happy. I am a serious SewGnar fangirl. And I love Nicole's patterns. This is pretty. Oh, let's check our card slots. I got my handy dandy SewGnar card slot tool. Hey, look. They work. They work. They're officially card slots. Yes. Check us out. Uh-oh. I got a spot. Told you it had to happen. I didn't catch it right there. It's okay. It's okay. I will go in and I will fix it. It's fine. All in all, this is what I was warning you when I was saying make sure they're not catching. I caught this one and I didn't realize it. All in all, this was a really fun sew. And I hope that you all enjoyed it as well. Bye!